What's up, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at the modular Glorious Mechanical Gaming Keyboard. This is the second version of this keyboard they've come out with, and it has full RGB support, as well as the key switches are removable and customizable. This keyboard is fantastic. This is my favorite keyboard of all time. It's a great product. It's probably the best product Glorious makes, and oh man, I'm a huge fan of this keyboard. So, the main reason I like this keyboard is because it's customizable, very customizable, and I am so sick of black mechanical keyboards with blue switches. I've seen it a million times. There's a million different companies that make black mechanical keyboards that light up that have blue switches. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. There's a company that just sent me a keyboard that is just so happens to be a black mechanical keyboard with blue switches. However, I wanted something different. So I went with a black keyboard, white keycaps, and clear switches. The Gateron Clear Switches are awesome for someone like me. I do not rest my hands on the home row when I type. My hands kind of just levitate on the over the keyboard. I don't actually leave them on. I'm kind of like a touch typist, I guess as you would call. But the Gateron Clear Switches are awesome. Now, I will warn you about Gateron Clear Switches. They're sensitive. They are very, very, very sensitive. So you got to keep that in mind. However, the good thing about this keyboard is that if you try out the Gateron Clear Switches and they're just too sensitive, you're making lots of typos, or you're activating them when you don't want to, you can change them. You can rip them out and put new ones in very, very easily. Now let's talk about the keyboard itself. This keyboard's build quality is the highest I've seen of any keyboard. It's great. It's made of aluminum. I really like that this is a metal keyboard. You've got this nice aluminum trim on the outside here, and the best part about this keyboard is that it's a minimalist design. You don't have a built-in wrist rest. You don't have any bulky macro keys or anything that's jutting out the side. There is no wasted space on this keyboard. I also like that the keys are not depressed in some sort of key bay. They are flat against the board. And that means that if you get some crap in your keyboard, you can easily just tilt your keyboard vertically and it's probably going to fall out. And I really, really like that. It makes cleaning the keyboard a breeze. You don't get, hair and all kinds of gunk stuck in that key area. So I really like that. Now let's talk about one of the very cool features of this keyboard, and that is the fact that you can remove and customize your key switches to your liking. This is the first keyboard I've seen to do this. I have started to see some other keyboards on the market that have offered this, but this is very cool, and it means that you can try out, Gateron Clear Switches, and you don't have to, risk buying a brand new keyboard if you don't like it. It's, way cheaper to buy some new key switches than it is to buy a whole new keyboard. Same thing if one of your key switches breaks or whatever, you can just buy another switch rather than having to buy another keyboard. So I really like this feature, and it's really easy. It is really, really easy to switch out your key switches. There's two tabs on the top and the bottom of the key switch. Push those two tabs in with your key remover tool that comes with the keyboard and lightly pull up, and the keys come out very, very easily. If you're having issues with pulling a key out, you are likely not fully depressing the tabs in because they pop out pretty easily. And then to replace that switch, all you do is line up the pins on the board, put it in, they easily click in, easily click out. It's really, really easy. And I was not expecting it to be as quick and easy as it actually is. So good stuff there. That seems like it's a gimmicky feature, but I think it's pretty cool. And if you want to get crazy and customize each individual switch, you can do that. For example, let's say you wanted WASD on your keyboard to have blue switches and everything else to have different switches. You could do that. I'm personally just rocking a full Gateron Clear board, but I could change it if I wanted to. The thing that really surprised me about this keyboard was the software, and I was not expecting the software to be very good. It's technically still in beta, and Glorious is a small company. I was kind of expecting it to be crappy. However, the software is great. You can customize this keyboard in a crazy amount of ways. There are so many RGB options and customizable things. We'd be here all day if I went through all of them. But the best part about the software is that it's not mandatory. You can do all of this stuff that I'm doing here with keyboard shortcuts. You do not need this software. I recommend the software because it makes customizing the keyboard much easier than doing it through function commands and stuff like that, but you don't need it. You don't need to leave it open. Once you customize your keyboard with the software, you can close it, stuff saves. There's also macro functionality there. I don't use that. But the best part about the software is that you don't need it. But I recommend it because it does make customizing your keyboard very easy. You get a preview of what things do. You can adjust the speed. You can adjust the brightness. You can individually adjust which keys you want, which colors. You can do basically everything with this keyboard software. I'm very impressed. The RGB mode that I really enjoy is the reactive keys with the colorful mode turned on. And what this does is that when you hit a key on the keyboard, it lights up. However, with the colorful mode on, it's going to randomize that color to anything on the RGB spectrum. And the key will fade away as time goes on. You can adjust the speed of how quickly it fades out. I cranked it all the way up to the max, so they fade out relatively quickly for me. And it makes typing on this keyboard very satisfying. It's a very futuristic, cool mode in my opinion. I've never seen a randomized reactive switch mode. I think it's slick. So let me know what you guys think. Here's a quick little sample of what that looks and sounds like. I think it's pretty cool. Now let's talk about some of the things you may not like. I'm hesitant to call these cons because they're kind of just different, but this keyboard is very low profile, which means that it does not have a USB, doesn't have USB or audio support or anything like that. Some of these Razer keyboards or other keyboards have extra USBs that you can hook your mouse into or hook your headphones into, things like that. This keyboard doesn't have that. This keyboard is very minimalist. And I am someone that occasionally would have used the extra USB, but I think it's better to not have it because I really appreciate the minimalist design. That would add space to the keyboard, make it bulkier. And to be honest, if you need an extra USB slot to hook in a camera or something like that, get a USB extender. That's the way to go. It's way more convenient. You can put it where you want. To be honest, having a USB on a keyboard, it's not really that convenient compared to an extender. And the other thing you might not like about this keyboard is that the keys that come with it are shiny. They have this shiny finish on them, which means that when you're removing the keycaps, you need to be particularly careful not to scratch them. You can scratch this finish with the keycap remover that comes with the keyboard. I highly recommend that you just don't use that. You don't need it unless you've got little bitch hands that can't grab the keys. You don't need it. You can pry them off with something else. And you just need to be careful removing the keycaps and the key switches with this keyboard. I've got big Shrek hands. I didn't scratch my keyboard, so it's not like you need to be particularly delicate, but you don't want to be ripping the switches off and ripping the keycaps off because the board is aluminum black with shiny keys. So you just be careful. Now, I understand why they went with the shiny keys because it does make your keyboard look better when you've got the RGB lit up. Those reflective keys are just going to make the glow even that much more intense. So I like the fact that they went with the shiny keys, but you just need to be a little bit more careful. Don't be a complete dumbass. You could potentially scratch the aluminum board with the key switch remover, but again, as long as you're not a complete retard, you're not going to scratch your keyboard. And again, I've got big Shrek hands. I didn't scratch my board. So if I didn't do it, you're not going to do it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this keyboard review. This keyboard is my #1 keyboard by a lot. This is a great board for many reasons. The build quality is fantastic. It's aluminum. You can change the switches. You can take a risk and go for Gateron clears and do something a little weird or a little different that you may not like. And you don't have to replace the keyboard. If you don't like the switches, you can just change them out. It's very minimalist. I love that. The customization is fantastic. The RGB options are fantastic. It's bright. I got nothing but good things to say about this keyboard. The price point is very fair. It's not ridiculously expensive. So yeah, I'll link to it on Amazon. Check it out. I highly recommend the Glorious PC Gaming Race Company. Everything they have sent me has been fantastic, and this is probably their best product. You know, I love their giant 5-foot mouse pad that I'm using here, but this keyboard is impressive because they're competing against a lot of companies, and they just really kicked everybody's ass, in my opinion. So it's gonna be interesting to see how people catch up with this thing. But anyway, excellent build quality, truly excellent. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.